All right, we're back reading in the book Through New Eyes, Developing a Biblical View of the World by James B. Jordan. This is chapter 5, and it will be read in two parts because it's rather lengthy. And chapter 5 is called Sun, Moon, and Stars. When 20th century people step outside and look at the sky, they see a huge atomic furnace burning hydrogen during the day, and a small planetoid reflecting the light of the sun at night. They also see other atomic furnaces that appear very small because they are so far away. When 20th century people step back inside their homes and pick up the latest coffee table book of astronomy, they see color-enhanced photographs of distant galaxies, the Magellanic Clouds, and binary stars. They see speculative drawings of quasars, neutron stars, and black holes. All these are wondrous things, and proper to study as part of God's universe. But if this is all we see, we're not getting the whole picture. If we look through new eyes, we shall see much more. The Bible speaks more of the purpose of the heavenly lights than it does of their constitution. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, like festival times, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens, to give light on the earth." And it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He made the stars also, and God placed them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. That's Genesis chapter 1, verses 14 through 18. The first thing said about the astral bodies is that they are lights. And we've seen that light is an aspect of God's glory cloud, and it is a reflection of God's glory that these heavenly bodies are made as lights. They represent glory. And so the Bible can say of the glorified saints that the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Similarly, Solomon wrote, "Who is this that grows like the dawn, as beautiful as the full moon, as pure as the sun?" Or, as Paul wrote, "There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars, for star differs from star in glory." It is because the heavenly bodies show God's glory that we delight in looking at beautiful pictures of them in astronomy books. We live in a happy age to have access to photographs of such wonders as the Ring Nebula, the Crab Nebula, and the Great Spiral Nebula in Andromeda. As lights, the astral bodies are glorious. But second, they were given for signs or symbols. And as we have seen, all created things point back to God, but all things also symbolize particular things, and in this case, the astral bodies symbolize rulers and governors. The lights are positioned in the firmament called heaven. Heaven rules the earth. Thus, those things positioned in the firmament symbolize rulers of the earth, as we shall see shortly. Third, they are said to be for seasons, and more literally, for festival times. This applied to the Old Covenant, which was regulated by these creational clocks. It was particularly the moon, regulated of months, that governed the Israelite calendar. The moon established which day was the first of the month, and which was the 15th. Such festivals as Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles were set on particular days of the month. The moon, of course, governs the night, and in a sense of the entire Old Covenant took place at night. With the rising of the Sun of Righteousness, the day of the Lord is at hand, and in a sense the New Covenant takes place in the daytime. As Genesis 1 says over and over, first evening and then morning. In the New Covenant, we are no longer under lunar regulation for festival times. In that regard, Christ is our light. Now, if we compare Genesis 1:14 and 16, we see employed the literary device known as a chasm. A chasm is a literary device in which parallel ideas or terms are presented in a sandwich form instead of a normal parallelism, like ABCD, DCBA, instead of like AABBCCDD. The use of chasm, which helps bring out the particular symbolic associations of sun, moon, and stars. And if you just request it from me in the comments, I'll send you this little example diagram he has in the book here in chapter 5 of an example of a chasm. And I'll read it to you. Let them be for signs and for festival times and for days and years, the greater light to govern the day and the lesser light to govern the night. See, the stars are primarily associated with astral symbolism. The moon is associated with appointed festivals, which began in the evening and were removed in the New Covenant. And then C is associated with days and years, the greater light to govern the day. And fourth, they are said to be clocks for days and years. Long before our mechanical clocks and watches were invented, people told time by the position of the sun and the occurrence of solar equinoxes and solstices and the precession of the equinoxes. And particularly, mentioned are days and years, which are regulated not by the moon, but by the sun. And fifth, they are said to rule over day and night, to govern time. Now here again, the emphasis is on rule. The astral bodies signified those who were glorified and exalted. While this is true of all saints, it is also true of all human rulers as well. Revelation 1:20 says that the rulers of the church are like stars. And Jude chapter 13, there is no other chapter. Jude verse 13 says that apostate teachers are as wandering stars. And long before this, in Genesis chapter 37 verses 9 and 10, Joseph had seen the rulers of his clan as sun, moon, and stars. We see this even today. The flag of the United States of America has 50 stars for the 50 states of our nation. The flags of Oriental nations included the rising sun. The flags of Near Eastern countries feature a crescent moon. Sun, moon, and stars are symbols of world powers. Sixth, they are associated with the heavenly host, the angelic and human array around the throne of God. This also follows from the fact that they are positioned in heaven. They represent the angelic host. They represent the human host of the Lord as well. And as we see from the promise to Abraham in Genesis chapter 15 verse 5 and reiterated in Genesis 22:17, Christians appear as stars in the world in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. The fact that Abraham's descendants were to be like the stars implies that they would not only be positioned in the heavenlies, but also that they would be rulers over the Gentiles. Now, it is neither possible nor desirable to separate these aspects of astral symbolism. The sun, moon, and stars mark time, as do clocks. Now, since they mark time, they govern time. Positioned in the heavenlies, they signify governments, ruling day and night. And since they mark time, they can be seen to signify the duration of the earthly governments, so that as we shall see the fall of sun, moon, and stars is a symbol for the fall of earthly governments. So that is part 1 of this sun, moon, and stars. And we'll do chapter 2 of Sun, Moon, and Stars of the book Thru New Eyes next time. So, until next time.